Malcontent News is a team of journalists, activists, and researchers with three key missions. A commitment to show an unfiltered view of the before, during, and after of key events live as it happens. To defend the First Amendment using our rights of a free press. And to amplify the voices of underrepresented individuals including Black, Indigenous, persons of color, and the LGBTQIA+ community. Our team is committed to seeking equality for all and holding those in power accountable. The easiest way to support Malcontent News is to bookmark our website at malcontentnews.com, like and follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, and in the Google News app. To provide financial support, you can become a patron, make a one-time donation through Venmo, or link your Twitch account to your Amazon Prime account and use your free subscription to subscribe to Malcontent News. Thank you for supporting independent journalism and for being a malcontent. Good evening, malcontents. My name is David. I am the Malcontent, and welcome to a special breaking news edition of Malcontentment Happy Hour. Today is Thursday, June 24, 2021. Jennifer has the night off. She will be back next week. One more. Sorry about that. We have 30 pages of notes. We have the emergency response plans from King County, from Kirkland, the city of Seattle, the weather forecast, safety information that's come out of King County Health that has been vetted by Dr. and Mrs. Malcontent, a real doctor. There is a ton of ground to cover. So we are just covering the weather tonight. We know there are some significant stories that would fall into our lane, both local and national, including some stuff on the political vein. We are putting the politics aside, barring something huge like the Capitol getting stormed or something like that. We are putting politics on the side through Tuesday because that is how serious this weather event that we are going to be having is having. So if you are new, welcome. If you are coming back because, God, I hate his political views, but damn, he gets the weather right. I'm glad to have you back. We're going to have this as a free fire zone for about 4 or 5 days. With that, we're going to start a land acknowledgement, and then we're just going to dive into it because there is a lot to cover tonight. Malcontent News acknowledges that the city of Seattle is on unceded Coast Salish land, specifically the ancestral lands of the Duwamish, Squamish, Stillaguamish, and Muckleshoot tribes. We recognize the stewardship of Seattle's lands by the Coast Salish people since time immemorial and the disruption of this work by broken treaties. We make this acknowledgement to remind ourselves that by being here today, we strive to remedy this injustice through our belief and actions. Thank you very much for that. And let's just dive into it because there is a ton to cover. By the way, if you haven't been with us because of the politics coverage or you forgot about us or whatever, you're like, whoa, the production value game has really been up. Yeah, we've been growing as an organization. I don't know if anybody was tuned in to the press conference on the Seattle channel today. I had a personal first today. We were able to get into the City of Seattle press conference as media today, and I actually got to ask my first question as a journalist. So that was kind of a cool thrill. Cynthia, I had already said Jennifer has the night off. She's taking a little bit of a break. Jennifer has some personal stuff going on in her life. Jennifer is a private person. I am respecting her privacy. Jennifer will be back next week. She will be back next week. So you're stuck with me tonight. And also, by the way, I can see all your comments. I'm much better at that stuff now. But let's dive into this. So what is going on? A strong upper level ridge, an area of high pressure, is building off Washington basically as I speak as this point. This is going to park over British Columbia this weekend, which is unusual. Forecasting models have been consistent about this all week. And last week, whether you were a hobbyist or an enthusiast like myself, whether you are, a student of meteorology like I believe the Seattle Weather Blog, whether you're Cliff Mass, a college professor, or whether you're with the National Weather Service, we have all been looking at these weather models going, this can't be right. This can't be right. These have to be wrong. Because every now and then you get these crazy things in the weather models, and then 24 hours later, the computers go, we got that wrong. And no, and it's been consistent for a week. And political free fire zone, fight my lip here right now. I do think that Cliff Mass put it best in his blog a few hours ago, which is either every computer model is completely wrong and we're not going to be able to trust them, or we are headed to some just unprecedented historical event. So how hot is it going to get? Let me give you some benchmarks. Seattle's going to be hotter than Miami this weekend, hotter than Houston, hotter than Jerusalem in Israel. Our forecasted temperatures this weekend, our forecast models are in a line with Yuma, Arizona, and Cairo, Egypt. This blows the mind because we have this whopping big body of water. From my orientation, I am pointing to where it is, called the Pacific Ocean. And the Pacific Ocean, which is cold, isn't supposed to allow temperatures like this to happen. So what goes on in a typical heat wave? Like, let's go back to the last time we broke 100 degrees. We were 103 degrees on July 29, 2009. An area of high pressure forms over the Four Corners section, the desert southwest of the United States. That starts to drift northward and westward and parks itself and creates what is called a ridge of high pressure. That ridge of high pressure creates an easterly flow. It starts pulling wind in from eastern Washington instead of coming in from the Pacific, which gives us our typical 70, 75, 80 degree days in a normal summer. We haven't had a normal summer in almost the entire time I have lived here at this point, and I have lived here for 21 years. I think we've had one normal summer in that time, and everybody hated it. There was a summer where you could count by minutes how long we were over 80 degrees, and everybody was just ready to move, including people that grew up here after that summer. What happens is that air, as it comes down the Cascade Mountains, it gets compressed, it squeezes. And as you squeeze the air, a couple of things happen. One, any moisture that's in that air gets squeezed out. That is why it is typically wetter on our side, because normally the wind is blowing the other way. So as the wind goes up over the Cascades towards eastern Washington, and then it starts to roll down past Snoqualmie Pass, Stevens Pass, into Wenatchee, Chelan, and then further like the Cle Elum area, all that moisture gets squeezed out. And that is why we have kind of these scabland deserts in the center. When it blows the other way, you get the opposite effect. It gets squeezed out on their side. There's almost no moisture to squeeze out right now. It compresses and it gets hotter. And that's normally what happens. And these particular heat events here normally only last for a couple of days. The ridge of high pressure is fighting this marine layer over the Pacific Ocean, and the marine layer is because Think about how big, say, a high pressure ridge is over there versus the whole whopping big Pacific Ocean. And so it gets pushed out. They drift east. The marine layer comes back in. And after we baked at like 95 degrees, or as we did in 2009, 103 degrees, we had 3 days total, one over 100, two that were in the high 90s. That marine layer pushes in. We wake up. It's 65 degrees. It's cloudy. It's gray. There might even be some drizzle. We go, oh, well, glad that's over with. And this is why a lot of people don't have air conditioning here. This isn't what's going on. What's going on here is historic. We have never seen this happen. Flip my notes here. Normal highs for this time of the year, 70, 71, 72, 73. Our cool day this week was Wednesday at 77 degrees, so about 5 to 7 degrees above normal. It got to 77 at KSEA. Whenever I say KSEA, SeaTac Airport, I always refer back to that because that is the official weather record. Wow, you all are blowing up the comments tonight. So let's just get into it. Here we go. Slide 1. We're under an excessive heat warning that is in place. The National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat warning that is in effect from 2 p.m. Friday to 9 p.m. Monday. Forecasters stated in today's press conference, I quote, "We have never seen data like this before, and you aren't kidding. I have studied the weather here as a hobbyist, as an enthusiast for 21 years. I have never seen a ridge of high pressure this strong, develop this fast, park over British Columbia versus, say, the edge of the Washington coast, and it's basically going to be parked there for a long time." The values, and I'm not going to get into the scientific and the numbers and rat hole on it, the values that we are seeing, when I say we, the meteorological community, they are resembling what you would see in the desert Southwest. Think like Death Valley or Phoenix on one of their worst heat waves. This is the kind of numbers that we're looking at when we look at this high pressure area. It is mind-blowing the amount of heat that is coming down upon us. Forecast models indicate that by Monday, temperatures here could be 108 degrees. That's not hyperbole, and we're going to get into what I think the forecast is here in just a minute. That would shatter the 2009 record. It would be unprecedentedly hot here for Seattle. So let's dive into it. Thursday, today, we got up to 83 degrees. Our forecast today was for 79 to 83. Nailed it. Got to the top end, but we nailed it. By the way, that high temperature 83 KSCA. And also keep in mind your temperature, like in your car, those thermometers, they're not super accurate. Particularly if you get in a car and it's been parked and that thing has been baking in a parking lot, people are going to see insane temperatures when they get in their cars Sunday or Monday. You're going to see pictures of people like, my car temperature says it's 128. It's because that car's been baking in a hot parking lot there. Joseph, how are you doing? Welcome to the show. Glad that you're here, and howdy to you. Pam, I'm not saying we're going to be as hot as Death Valley, but I do say that this weather system is comparative to a high pressure system that you would see in the summertime parked in an area like Death Valley. We do get some moderation thankfully, from the Pacific Ocean. So tonight's going to be nice. Marine layer is going to try and push in. It's not happening. It's not going to make it to our area, but we're going to have some partly cloudy skies. You probably see some clouds move into the area. Temperature is going to be 59 to 63. Friday, onshore flow is going to start up. It's going to start in the afternoon, right around where that heat warning starts, and it's going to intensify during the day. Friday is going to be pretty similar to Monday. Monday was like kind of like, this isn't pleasant. It's not bad. It's not bad. But I'm really not liking this. And that's what Monday is going to be like. Temperatures are going to be from 87 to 91 degrees. Winds are going to be light. That number you see up there is the average number for Kirkland. Remember when I say on that range, 87 degrees, that's going to be right down on the water. 91 degrees, that's going to be our hot spots. Downtown Bellevue, Totem Lake, and Kingsgate. Those areas are kind of our hot spots. Those are the areas that will be on the higher side. Friday night, it's really going to start on Friday night. High pressure is really going to start building to our north. Hot air is going to be pumping down from that compression. And we're also going to be having an onshore flow. Friday night lows are only going to drop from 64 to 68. We're going to have clear skies. Saturday, hot air is going to entrench in the region, sending temperatures soaring. The further away from the water and the further south you get, the hotter it's going to be. Saturday's highs 97 to 101. And I'm feeling that might be a little conservative. I might bump those numbers up tomorrow. That is, again, for Kirkland, Bellevue, Woodinville area. Right on the lake, that's where it's going to be cooler. And again, Bellevue, Totem Lake, Kingsgate, those are going to be the hot spots. Wouldn't be surprised if downtown Bellevue and the urban canyons, where all the pavement is, that's where you're going to see it over 100. And that's going to be the coolest day of the next 3 days. Record high at SeaTac is 93. That's Muerta. That's gone. That's bye-bye. And that's at the Federal Building. The record high at SeaTac is only 91. That doesn't have a chance. All-time record high for June is 98 degrees, also down at the Federal Building, 96 at the airport. I think both those records fall on Saturday, but they're only going to be records for less than 24 hours. Saturday night, that ridge of high pressure is going to continue to intensify, provide little relief. Low temperatures, 69 to 73. That's as cold as it's going to get. I think if you live in Kirkland, the best you're going to see is 70 degrees. The other thing to remember, we are on our longest days of the year, so we only have about 8 hours where the sun is not in the sky right now. You are not going to find much relief from the heat in the nighttime. Sunday, it's going to be historically hot, and the outright word here is dangerous. High temperatures are going to be 102 to 106, sunny skies. The record high for Sunday is 91. That doesn't have a chance. The all-time record high for Seattle, we had talked about earlier, 103. That's going down on Sunday. Sunday night, it will be historically hot. We will have a record high minimum temperature. Low temperatures of 72 to 60 degrees. I want people to just kind of step back and think about that for a minute. The low temperatures on Sunday night will be at our normal high temperatures for that date. That's as good as it's going to get. Kirkland area, unless you're right on the water, I think you're going to find 74 degrees. There's going to be almost no breeze to speak of. There's really not going to be any relief for people here. And I've already talked about less than 8 hours of darkness. Monday will be unprecedentedly hot, historic. You think Sunday's going to be hot, it's going to be worse. High temperatures, we changed our forecast from this morning, looking at the weather models as they're coming in. I don't know how else to put it, 105 to 109. The hottest, I lived in Houston for 8 years. The hottest I ever saw Houston was 108. The hottest I've ever experienced on this planet is 113. We're going to tickle the hottest temperatures I've ever seen in my life. And if the models keep shifting, because what's happening is the Monday temperatures are going up and up and up. I'm going to have more confidence on the Monday forecast right now, but Monday's just going to be insane. The record for Monday, 91 degrees. That's not happening. Monday night, that ridge is finally going to start shifting to our east. There's going to be a little bit of offshore flow that will finally start on the coast, but it's not going to move the needle, no pun intended, a whole lot. Monday night, temperatures will drop to 65 to 69. So we're throwing it in. We think it's 67. Tuesday right now is a little bit of a guess. I've always said, once you go out more than 4 or 5 days, you're throwing darts on a weather forecast. So Tuesday right now, 91 to 95. The record high is 93. I think the record high could get tied. And then Tuesday night, we finally get back to normal-ish, which is about 64 degrees. Here's the other thing in all this. There is no rain in the forecast all the way out to the 4th of July looking at the long-range models. And looking at the long-range models, when we talk about it's going to get better and we're going to get relief, think 82 to 88. That's what we're seeing in the long-range models right now. We'll have to see how that plays out. But right now, there's just nothing in there. Let's go into this. Records that are going to fall. High temperature records, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and maybe Tuesday. I think Saturday, Sunday, Monday records are toast. Tuesday is a maybe. All-time high, that's going to fall. All-time high for Seattle, that's going to fall. All-time highest minimum, that is going to fall. Longest streak of over 90 days, currently at June, that's at 3 days. We could potentially hit 5. Tomorrow becomes that wild card. Does KSCA, SeaTac Airport, get up to 90 degrees tomorrow? I think it's possible. I think it's a stretch, but I think it's possible. Will KSCA get to 90 degrees on Tuesday? I think it's a strong possibility, but my confidence isn't high because that's more than 5 days out right now. So I feel it's a little bit of a dart throw. All-time high minimum is 71 degrees. That's going down. Number of 100 plus degree days in a row. Currently 1. We've never had a 100-degree day in a row. We came close in 2009. I believe it was 98, 103, and 97 in that order. Don't hold me on the 97. I know it was 90, and we've come close, but we never have hit it. We're looking at probably 3 days in a row at over 100. To go back, there's only been 3 100-degree days in Seattle since 1941. There we go. We'll go to a different camera if that camera doesn't want to work. I was going to do an alternate angle, and that camera is just like, it ain't happening.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
And as I talked about, the long-range forecast shows we're going to remain 10 to 15 degrees above normal. There just is not a big marine layer push that's going to come in and bring us back to normal, which is what typically happens in these. Burn bans are instated throughout Washington as fire danger stores. I have a long list of burn bans. I'm going to burn through them. You know what? Actually, we're going to hold off on the burn bans. Let's do a little pause for the cause. The other thing is that I need you to do, please go ahead and spam those hearts. There we go. Spam those hearts, spam those hearts. Let those mods and admins and researchers know that you really appreciate them because they're busting their ass right now. If you do that on Facebook, on Twitter, you can lie to the algorithm and go, there's good content here. You should be watching it. If you're watching us on Twitch, yeah, I know it's the Twitter thing. If you're watching us on Twitch, you're like, I can't spam hearts. So what you can do there is use our emotes. If you're a subscriber, you can use our emotes, including Yoda the Wonder Pug. Yoda, forever in our hearts. He left us on February 28th. If you're an old school Malcontent, have been a while, Yoda's no longer with us, but forever in our hearts. If you're watching us on YouTube, I know you can't do much there except for I love you mods, I love you admins, I love you David, I miss you Jennifer, just in a totally non-creepy way. We're going to do a pause for the cause. We will come back and then we are going to go through all of the burn bans and the stuff that's going on. There is a ton to cover. Our video Namibia will be premiering in the fall. I always like to remind people, fall technically is December 20th, 2021, so I would expect it more around that date. It shows the beauty and the struggles of the people of Namibia. It is a fascinating place. And with that, we're just going to continue to go ahead and move forward with that. Burn bans. King County Fire Marshals issued a stage 1 fire safety burn ban effective Thursday until further notice. For unincorporated areas of King County, for the Kirkland, Bellevue, Woodinville area, sections of Woodinville are impacted by that burn ban.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Burn ban. Why is it so hard to say? The ban applies to all outdoor burning except for barbecues and small recreational fires in established fire pits at approved campgrounds or private property with the owner's permission. An approved fire pit is it's like a tongue twister. Is 25 feet from all structures, 20 feet away from overhanging branches, has no vegetation within 10 feet, is no more than 36 inches across, and is made of concrete or metal. Basically, to put it simple, it can't be right next to your house or your neighbor's house or right under some trees. You can't have dry brush all around it, and you can't make a big-ass bonfire. If you're an unincorporated, again, in the Kirkland, Bellevue, Woodinville area that we hyper-focus on, that means there. Large areas of Duval are impacted. That parts of Redmond are impacted by that. The Washington State Department of Natural Resources has issued multiple burn bans throughout the state of Washington. I'm going to burn through these quickly. Ha, funny joke. King, Pierce, Kitsap, and Mason counties are under a level 4 burn ban until further notice. Moderate fire danger in those counties. Industrial fires are banned and only recreational fires are allowed. Recreational fire definition is identical to what I read by the King County for unincorporated areas. Grays Harbor, Jefferson, and Clallam counties are under a level 2 burn ban until further notice, due to also moderate fire danger. Rules and permit fires are banned. So that's really important. If you live in Grays Harbor, Jefferson, and Clallam County, but I have a permit. No, you don't have a permit. That's what just happened to your permit. It's really important that you understand that. Industrial debris fire not allowed. Campfires are only allowed at designated campgrounds on DNR lands. That's it. Lewis, Cowlitz, Clark, and Pacific counties, you are under a level 4 burn ban due to moderate fire danger. That burn ban goes into effect tomorrow and is until further notice. Industrial debris fires are not allowed. Campfires are only allowed at designated campgrounds on DNR land or on private property in the same fire ring, 25 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet rules. Chelan and Wenatchee counties are under a level 4 burn ban due to high fire danger. Rule and permit fires are banned. Industrial or debris fires are not allowed. And campfires are allowed only in designated campgrounds on DNR land. So again, if you have a permit and you live in Chelan or Wenatchee County, no, the permit is invalid. You cannot do burning on the DNR land. Let's move into Kirkland and what the city of Kirkland is doing. So if you're in the city of Kirkland, here's the emergency response plan. We got this sent to us about an hour before airtime. So starting on Saturday, June 26th and extending through Monday, June 28th, Air conditioning cooling center will be available as a safe space for any community member who needs to get out of the heat. I can't talk tonight. So let's talk about where those cooling centers are from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday, June 26th. It will be at the Peter Kirk Community Center. On Sunday, June 27th, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. It will be at the North Kirkland Community Center. Peter Kirk will be closed. On Monday, June 28th, 10 a.m., 8 p.m., it will be at the Peter Kirk Community Center. Guidelines for city cooling. This is really important. Cooling center guests must comply with COVID-19 screening before entering city facilities. You will be screened for COVID. Facial coverings are required. If you were planning to go in there and argue about a mask, go cook. I know I'm skating on the lines there. I said no politics. It's not politics. Wear a mask. It's not hard. They're still required until the 29th. Guests will be asked to maintain a distance of at least 6 feet between themselves and people from other households. So if your old household goes to the cooling center, you can chillax together. Another household, you got to keep 6 feet away. This is important, people. Leashed dogs and crated cats are allowed. Say it again. At the Kirkland cooling centers, leashed dogs, crated cats are allowed. They must be under owner's control at all times, and you are responsible for cleaning up any accidents that your pet may have. Community members are also encouraged to seek relief from the heat at local restaurants, stores, malls, and movie theaters. The movie theater over at Totem Lake is open, and if you're vaccinated and you wear a mask, you probably don't have a whole lot to worry about. Another thing is you can go to shady areas in the park. Oh, Denny is one that sticks out in my mind that might be a possible place you can go, but I don't think you're going to find, 105 in the shade is still a ball of suck. There's no other way to put it. Additionally, the Kirkland Library will be open for limited hours on Saturday with limited capacity. We have a long list of King County libraries that are going to be open. To cool off in the water, open swim will be available at the Peter Kirk Pool at reduced capacity due to COVID-19. The swimming beaches at Houghton Beach, Waverly Beach, and Juanita Beach will have lifeguards starting on Monday. No lifeguards Saturday or Sunday. Remember, we're going to get into water safety a little further in the show. The water is really cold, to the point that you can ironically get hypothermia on a 105-degree day, cramp up, have your muscles not work. We had 5 people drown last week in our area. It's like, don't F around.
What's the F-bomb? This is written. This is written.
Don't F around and find out with this. If you want to cool down. But when it's 105 out and you hit 50-degree or 55-degree water, your body can go into shock from that. You can cramp up and you're done. You're cooked. And we'll get into that more. Anyway, that is what Kirkland's plan is. What we're going to do is a little pause for the cause. We're at the bottom of the hour, and we are then going to go and into everything that Seattle has going on, because Seattle has a lot. Hi, Malcontents. I'm David, the Malcontent, and I'd like to talk to you for a moment about supporting independent media. When you support us, you help us bring the before, during, and after. You help us defend the First Amendment. You help us amplify BIPOC and LGBTQIA voices, and you help us hold leaderships at a local, state, and federal level accountable. None of this would be possible without support by viewers just like you. When you become a patron for as little as $5 a month, you help buy technology, safety equipment, and help cover travel expenses so that we can continue to bring you news that you trust. If you can't become a patron, you can do a one-time donation on Venmo, and your dollars will go to the exact same causes. With your continued support, we can continue to amplify BIPOC and LGBTQIA voices while showing the truth on what is happening in the world around us. Once again, thank you. And we do love our patrons and our Venmo supporters. That is for you. One more time, spam those hearts, blow up those hearts on Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and mess with the algorithm. Make people think that there's actually worthwhile news and information that you can get here tonight. If you're watching us on Twitch, then what you can do there is use our emotes. If you are a Twitch subscriber, you can become a Twitch subscriber. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you become a Twitch subscriber for free, actually. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we love you, YouTube, but all you can do is I love you, mods, I love you, admins. Ursinate, I saw your question on humidity levels. Humidity levels will be low-ish. If we go to some of the heat waves that we had last year, which, by the way, we could have broke 100 degrees a couple of days last year, but the wildfire smoke kept us about 4 to 8 degrees cooler than the forecasted models. Thank you, wildfire smoke. Yay. On those days, we were seeing humidity levels that were literally out of the desert Southwest or places like Death Valley of 15%. We're not going to see it that low. We're going to see humidity levels in and around 30 to 45%. Dew points are going to be somewhere between 55 and 60 at the heat of the day. So humidity isn't going to be bad, but if we talk about real feel, right? Some people, but the real feel in meteorological terms, we call that the temperature humidity index. But the real feel temperature, yeah, 105 is going to feel like 105. There is no, but it's the dry heat with what's going on here. But we are not talking Houston, Miami, Atlanta, Richmond, Virginia, where just kill me now. I've been in Houston where it's like 108 and the dew point was like 73 or 74. And believe me, it is just like someone just killed me now. It's just awful. Let's go into Seattle. Seattle has activated the Emergency Operations Center, is working on a multi-agency response to protect vulnerable residents of the area. 24-hour emergency shelter will be open at the Fisher Pavilion starting on Saturday. That can accommodate only 73 people. It is managed by the Salvation Army. The city of Seattle is scrambling to open as many libraries as possible, but it is struggling because the libraries have been closed up to this point due to COVID, and they have a staffing shortage. The plan calls to have 7 libraries open, including the Central Library downtown, open on Saturday. 5 will be open on Sunday as of right now. 3 will be open on Monday. Later in the week, the city hopes to have between 6 to 10 libraries open on the daily. An exact list will be available at the Seattle Public Library website. If you go to our website, that's the wrong one. You can send us a news tip there. We're going to wait till that one just disappears. It's going to. There we go. If you go to our website, malcontentnews.com, and if you go to the lead stories up there, we have a direct link to that Seattle Public Library so you can find out exactly which libraries are open and at what time. Seattle was still working that out at the 4 o'clock press conference. Seattle's senior centers have been closed also due to COVID. The city is working to open the following senior citizens. If you are a senior citizen or you know someone who is a senior citizen, you want to get into some air conditioning. Greenwood, Pike Place, West Seattle, Southeast Seattle, Central area, and Wallingford Community Senior Centers will all be open. People are advised to call ahead to confirm the hours and make sure they're open on the day that they're going there. The city has already started distributing fans to vulnerable seniors earlier this week, and they will continue to do so. The Lake City Community Center will be open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. That facility does not have air conditioning, but they will be putting in evaporative coolers to provide some comfort at that location, swamp coolers. The International District Community Center will also be open. That is open from 2 to 8 p.m. Not muted. Batteries died on my transceiver. Can you hear me now? Now that I went and replaced batteries on the transceiver, can you hear me now? Thank you, Deborah. We love that too. I'm waiting to see if y'all can hear me. Okay, it should be good because I had to the battery series. All right, so here's the next question: where did it die? How far back do I have to go and where it died? See, that's why I'm looking at a viewer, I'm like, button's green. I haven't touched the button. I haven't touched the button. I only hit that button once tonight, for the love of God. So where did you guys lose me? Where'd you guys lose me? I don't want to repeat myself because there's a lot to do. I'm like scrolling through your comments here. I think something failed. Ursinate is correct. Something failed. I guess I was talking about dew points. Wow, 5 minutes. All right. We're going to go back. I know we were starting to talk about Seattle. Or no, I guess we missed all of Kirkland. Did we miss all of Kirkland? We got Kirkland, right? Senior centers. Thank you. That helps me. We lost at senior centers. That helps me. So we talked about that. We talked about libraries. Seattle senior centers have closed were closed due to COVID. The city is working to open the following senior centers: Greenwood, Pike Place, West Seattle, Southeast Seattle, Central Area, and Wallingford Community Senior Centers. People are advised to call ahead to confirm hours for each day. The city has already started in Seattle distributing fans to seniors earlier this week, and they're continuing to do so. The Lake City Community Center will be open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have evaporative coolers there, so they have swamp coolers. That facility does not have air conditioning. It will provide some relief. The International District Community Center will be open from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. That has air conditioning. Seattle City Parks and Recreation will have 8 of the 9 area beaches open starting on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. The only beach closure is East Green Lake, but West Green Lake will be open. A spokesperson to City Park said the reason for the closure over at East Green Lake is due to a staffing shortage. Additionally, the city of Seattle is reopening indoor and outdoor pools, wading pools, and spray parks to the public. The 11 wading pools and 6 spray pools will be open from noon to 7 p.m. The city's 2 indoor pools and outdoor pools will be open, and they will follow their normal schedule before the COVID closures. Mayor Durkin also stated in a question that we asked, 100 public drinking fountains are now operational in the city. There was a story in the Seattle Times that only 20% of them were working. They are working, in her words, quote unquote, around the clock to turn on and fix as many as possible. Seattle City Parks are asking parents to test the surface temperatures of playground equipment and the hard surfaces below them to make sure they are not too hot to play on. A spokesperson stated it could be possible that the surfaces will get so hot that it will get burns. Grease Lake does sound about right. I think that was Freudian and not the speech impediment that I have weirdly tonight. The Seattle Fire Department has suspended training for the weekend to provide a maximum staffing level and would be distributing water to the public at multiple locations from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bottled water. We're going to talk about our bottled water distribution plan. Both Health One units will be operating over the weekend. COVID testing and vaccination sites will be operating as planned. The planned pop-up vaccination center at Seattle Pride on 11th at the corner of Cal Anderson Park will be open from 1 p.m. to 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday. I'm going to pause for a minute here. if you're gonna get if you're due for your second poke, the second one, or you're gonna like you get into one and done J&J, and you could push that off till it's a little cooler. Or if you got air conditioning, go get poked. If you don't, and you're tardy to the vaccination party, look, I'm never going to get on here. This will be the only time I'm going to say this. You don't want to be stuck in a 100-degree house with the chills and a fever and a headache and feeling like crap. So, as much as I don't want to say this, my personal advice is if you just do it like on Tuesday, then push it off. If you push it off and it's never going to happen, get the jab. But my personal advice is, just from my experience, it would just be awful to feel that way on a 100-degree day. The HOPE team will be performing welfare checks on the elderly and the unhomed. Seattle City Light believes the electrical grid will not be overwhelmed with this heat event. That also includes, in our discussions, PUD, Snohomish County PUD. Sorry about that, Snohomish County PUD, and PSE, Puget Sound Energy. A spokesperson for Seattle City Light indicated that historically the highest demand comes in the wintertime, and the highest they have ever had was 75% of capacity. Take that, Texas. Summertime demand typically peaks around 50%. They said they will be monitoring. They seemed like their concern was more around potential wildfires that could threaten transmission right of ways. And finally, all planned outages for Seattle City Light for maintenance this weekend have been canceled. So if you have a thing from Seattle City Light saying, hey, we're turning the lights off in this day to do so, yeah, they're not. And if they are, blow up the phone on them. The city has canceled, in the city of Seattle, all planned road projects. That does not mean that state projects have stopped. They will be spraying bridges with water to prevent them from warping or the road surfaces to buckle from the heat. And on subject of buckling, we see this when we get these extreme heat events. Our bridge dividers and expansion joints, although they are designed to take the heat, we don't engineer for 105 or 110 degrees here. It would not shock me if we hear about highway closures on I-5 or 405. 167 was just recently redone end to end, so I think 167 is in good shape. I think the northern half of 405 is in good shape. But it wouldn't surprise me if we hear about some highway closures and emergency repairs because an expansion joint has failed. Employers who have people who are working outside in non-air conditioned facilities, county health officials are urging to allow those workers take frequent breaks in cool or shaded areas and provide them with drinking water. If you don't want to kill your employees from heat stroke, pretty solid advice. With that, we're going to do a little bit of a pause, and then we're going to move into safety and staying cool.
Black Coffee is a hub for communities and a hub for meeting people, making friends, and understanding.
What Black Coffee is to me is a place to actually call home, a place where Black youth will feel welcomed, where Black families will come and feel like they're at home.
What we're trying to build is more than just coffee. Community is something that we do naturally. We know who's in the community, we know what the deficits are, and we're trying to fix that. We want to bring people together.
My hope is that the phrase grounded in excellence shows up everywhere and that it becomes a movement.
I'm looking forward to hanging out at Black Coffee with my friends and feeling safe.
Black Coffee to me means opportunity for people like me and my other friends and family to come here and do homework safely and hang out and stuff like that.
That is happening. It is happening.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
You fit the profile. You're the malcontent.
Nobody wants to hear the nonsensical ravings of a loudmouth malcontent.
He said malcontents Antifa. Fuck you.
You are the biggest hypocrite on the face of the planet.
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say.
What's the F-bomb? This is written. This is written.
And the funny thing is, I crumpled up those notes and you saw it. So I already know what was on those notes. Well, howdy do there, malcontent family. How the heck are you? Go to Black Coffee, it's amazing. Go to Mixed Coffee and Shoreline, separate company, they're amazing. Get the guava cheese popovers, they're the food of the gods at Mixed. Potato scones, Black Coffee. Best way to stay cool, get air conditioning. If you can't find air conditioning, go to a place that has air conditioning. Crossroads Mall, great place to go if you live on the east side. Consider having a staycation at an area hotel. Oh, wait a minute. If you haven't booked a hotel room with air conditioning, it's not happening. Cover your windows and follow the indoor and outdoor temperatures. This is what I was explaining earlier. At night, open up all your windows. I know some of you live in places. I can't. Someone might crawl in my window. Then I don't know what to tell you at that point. But if you can, open up all your windows. At night, first thing when you wake up in the morning, close them all up, close the blinds, block out as much as you possibly can. If you have stuff on Western exposure, get some cardboard, wrap some tin foil, aluminum foil on that, put it up in the windows to reflect some of that heat back. Then you need to watch the inside temperature and the outside temperature. What will happen is, you'll have an inside temperature that's here. You'll have an outside temperature that's here. That outside temperature is going to go up. The inside temperature will go up with it. And then the outside temperature will start going down. When it starts going down in the evening, when those temperatures cross, if it becomes 85 in your house and it's 85 outside, as soon as they cross, open everything up. If you have fans, set the fans to blow the hot air out of your house. That will pull cooler air, relatively speaking, back into your house. I did this when I lived in a house with no air conditioning here in Seattle area for 9 years, including in 2009, and it made things habitable. And it's really counterintuitive to go, what do you mean close my windows and close all the blinds? It works. Wear light-colored clothing. Take a cool or a cold shower or a bath. If you just can't find any relief at all, get into some cool water. They can provide you some comfort. If you can't do that, get some towels, wet them down, and wrap yourself in cool, wet towels. It actually will provide you great relief. I had to do that once when I got myself mightily sunburned. Here's one. If you live in a multi-story building, a multi-story home, townhome, go lower. The lower you can get, the cooler it's going to be. If you've got a basement area, set up in the basement area, because most people that have basements are like, wow, it's like downright habitable down here. If you've got it, use it. Most in-room portable air conditioners, the kind you roll in your room, don't waste your money. Most of them are ineffective. Air conditioners that work best are the ones that face outward. If you do have a portable air conditioner that you're putting in the window, make sure it's secure. There's been stories every year. I'll just have it. There was actually an ad, and yeah, they fall out the window and they could land on someone's car, or they could land on someone, and then you got a lot of other problems. Stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water. If you feel thirsty, you are already dehydrated. The goal is not to get to thirsty. Watch your urine. It is one of the easiest ways to figure out We're going to talk about urine malcontents, but watch your urine. It's one of the easiest ways to figure out if you're getting dehydrated. When it's hot like this, your urine should be somewhere between clear and straw colored. If it is dark yellow or brown, you are getting dangerously dehydrated. You have to increase your fluids. If there is blood in your urine, you need to go to an emergency room. You are critically dehydrated, and you probably need IV fluids at that point. Don't drink alcohol. Large amounts of caffeine. Both of those dehydrate you. That includes things like energy drinks, coffee. I don't want to live. That's it. I have lost my will to live. Who wrote this? But yeah, don't drink coffee or tea. Carry bottled water or a water bottle with water in with you at all times. The object here is not to go, I'm thirsty, and gulp down 17 ounces of water in 30 seconds like I do when I'm reporting in the field. And I sometimes go, sorry, water break, and you hear me going gulp. Yeah, it's not a good strategy. Again, once you get to thirsty, problems. When you're outside, limit your time in direct sunlight. If you can, do not be in the direct sun from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. That is the heat of day. Our heat wave, as we already talked about, is coming at the longest days of the year right now, and the extended daylight is prolonging that heat. Our highest temperatures typically come somewhere around 5 o'clock this time of the year. That is as hot as it gets, and then it'll start to go down. Never leave an infant, a child, or anyone with mobility challenges in a parked car. Even with the windows down, it's just for a minute, I promise. No. And we have slides on how dangerous this is. Wear sunscreen and reapply frequently. There's not a whole lot of difference between SPF 30 and above. So if you get SPF 50 or 75, you're not moving the needle that much. So just get the SPF 30 and save yourself a couple of dollars. If you get sunburned, you totally diminish your body's ability to cool itself. Don't swim for 30 minutes after you've applied sunscreen, because you're going to jump in the water and you're just going to wash it off and you're going to barbecue yourself. You need to reapply after you come out of the water. Consider wearing a swim shirt with UV protection, particularly if you're like, I'm going to kayak, I'm going to canoe, or I'm going to paddleboard. Fun fact, Washington State has one of the highest skin cancer rates in the United States because we don't like wearing sunscreen here, because we don't think we need to wear it. Guilty, although I've gotten a lot better at wearing it. Wear footwear everywhere you go. We rarely get this hot in Puget Sound. Sand, concrete, pavement is going to burn your flippin' feet. And I don't mean like hot, 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 hot. I mean, could put you in the emergency room, burn your feet. Don't walk on hard surfaces or beach sand this weekend without footwear. If you're wearing sandals or open-toe shoes, this is what I forgot to do. Make sure you put sun lotion on the top of those feet too, because you don't want sunburned feet. It's one of the biggest balls of suck you could ever go through. This also applies to pets. For pets, never leave your pets in a locked car, even if the windows are down. We got a little bit of a graphic here for you, and I have to kind of like tip my head so I can see it past the camera. If it is 95 degrees, in 10 minutes, it's 114 in your car. In an hour, it's 140. Whether that's a pet or an infant or of a person. If you have access to air conditioning, it's best to just leave your pet at home. Just leave him at home. And here's the thing. If you're hot, your pet is hot. And here's another thing that I've been asked to talk about by a couple of people. Smaller pets. So like if you have like a pet hedgehog or a guinea pig or a ferret, and they're in kind of like, their cage enclosure, they're trapped. Like if they're in a place in the house, you got them up like on the second floor and that room's 100 degrees, that poor little critter is trapped where it's 100 degrees and they can die in these environments. So if you have small pets, exotic pets, particularly ones like ferrets, do not take heat well. And so make sure that you are moving them into areas where they can get cooled down also and be safe. If you have pets, if you have outdoor-only pets or livestock, you need to make sure they have access to shade, cool surfaces to stand and lie on, preferably grass, enclosed dog houses, enclosed chicken coops. That's not going to cut it. That is not shade. Those are hot box ovens. You can kill your livestock or your animals. Don't walk your dog on hard surfaces like pavement or concrete, even for a short distance, their paws can get burned. It's too hot. It is just going to be too hot. If you can't stand barefoot in place with your feet on the ground for 7 seconds, your pet's feet will get burned on the pavement. It's too hot for them. And here's a table that shows just how hot it is. At 95 degrees, black asphalt is 150 degrees. That will give you a 3rd degree burn in about 1.5 to 2 seconds. The other thing is, dogs sweat from their feet. They don't just expel their heat from panting. Have you ever had pet feet and they're like, why do they smell like stale corn chips? That's what dog sweat smells with. Serious. There's your worthless trivia for the day. Yoda would smell like stale corn chips on the hot summer day. Also, if you, on the subject of Yoda the Wonder Pug, if you have smushed face breeds, or if you have breeds like a Husky, or you have breeds like St. Bernards, these dogs are not made to take the heat. They need to be inside in air conditioning, or the same thing applies. Soak them down, keep them wet, make sure they're hydrating, short periods of times outside, keep them in the shade, bring them outside. Protect your 4-legged friends because they're looking to you to protect them. We've covered that on that. Also, make sure they just have plenty of water. Here's another thing. Consider getting a kiddie pool. Good luck finding one of those right now, or something else that your fur friend can lay in and get cool. You got an electric car, you got a car with a remote start. Don't assume, well, they're inside, it's running, it's all good. Don't. If it shuts down for some reason, if you get delayed for some reason, if they're jumping around, they turn everything off, you're going to come back to a dead pet. I'm going to say it again. Leave them home. Don't bring them in your car. Oh, that's a perfect throw. Now, here's another thing. It is illegal in Washington for someone who is not a commissioned law enforcement officer or animal control officer to break a window to rescue a pet in distress. If you see a pet in distress in a car, call 911 first. If that pet is in just critical need, then seek permission for immediate intervention. If you have reached a point where you're just like, I am not waiting anymore, just make sure you do it where there's other third-party witnesses around and that they absolutely agree also that that pet is in danger and immediate and that you had to take immediate action. But understand technically, if you do it and a law enforcement officer doesn't do it, you have committed a crime. Just be aware. Know the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke for your pets. Excessive panting, confusion and disorientation, vomiting or diarrhea, bright red gums. That's a big one. Body temperature over 104. I don't see anybody putting the thermometer up their dog or cat's butt. Collapse, seizure, or coma. If your animal is moved into seizure, it is a critical emergency at that point. And again, at 95 degrees in just 10 minutes, the inside of a car can become fatal for a human being or a pet. Pre-existing health conditions. This is important too. Certain medications can impact your natural ability to deal with hot water or increase your chances of getting sunburned. If you have questions, because we're not going to give out unsolicited medical advice here, it's a good way to get sued, you should contact your medical provider. Do not take salt tablets. Like, salt tablets were a big thing. Gen X knows what I'm talking about. And I know we have some boomers that watch us. Gen X, we're like, you know, kids. Have a salt tablet. Yeah, don't do that unless the doctor is telling you specifically to take a salt tablet. Some medications, such as certain antibiotics, will lose their effectiveness if you're exposed to sunlight. Again, if you're on antibiotics, check with your medical health professional and find out if maybe your happy rear end shouldn't be outside in the sun. Water safety. All of our bodies of water are still very cold. We touched on this earlier. You can get hypothermia here in a 100-degree day. Wear a life jacket, a personal flotation device. If you plan to canoe, kayak, paddleboard, water ski, or go boating. We had a tragedy here last weekend in Kirkland. 32-year-old man, father of 3. I'm not blaming. Just, you don't want to be a statistic. I get it. You know, they're like, I'm Gen X. I'm going to tell you this, millennials and Gen Z, you didn't have to wear the life jackets we had to wear. So, like, when millennials and Gen Z are like, it's uncomfortable. You know, we're just like, bite us. You didn't have to wear the stupid big orange one things that are like, you know, like choking you. They're like comfortable. Wear it. Swim in designated areas, preferably with a lifeguard. We already said there are not going to be lifeguards at a lot of these beaches. Never swim alone. Do not swim outside of your abilities. Never allow children to swim unsupervised. If you have a backyard pool, even if it's above ground or a shallow, like you set up a shallow splash pool, unsecured, no. If you own a private pool, this is the time to check to make sure your gate is up to code and the safety latches operate correctly. Again, you don't want a tragedy. You just want this to be like, you remember that cold summer we had? You remember? I remember the summer of 2021. It was only 109 in Seattle. You believe that, son? Now it's 135. Back when I was a kid, we only had summers and got up to the low hundreds. Right? You want to be able to tell those goofy stories. If you plan to tube, raft, kayak, or canoe in our area of rivers, stay within your ability. High temperatures increase snowpack and ice melt. That raises river levels, that increases flow, and it also lowers the temperatures. It is across the board a dangerous combination. Wow, Catherine's got some stuff here about fish tanks. I have water bottles and freezer to cool down my tank. Frozen bottles covered. Granite slabs for guinea pigs. Oh, I love the granite slabs for small pets. That's a good idea. I love that. Get granite or even just a concrete block or something. Put that in your freezer. Let it cool. I love it. Thank you, malcontents. I love it when you guys are sharing information here. Listen. Never do water recreation near a low-head dam. If you don't know what a low-head dam is, that's when you kind of don't see the dam. And the water is maybe just like this high and it's flowing quickly over the top of the dam and it might only drop like 3 or 5 or 10 feet. Never do water recreation around a low-head dam. If you get pulled over that low-head dam, you are not going to be able to escape the currents at the bottom. It's called a drowning machine. It is literally called a drowning machine. If you find yourself in a river kayaking, etc., tubing situation, you find yourself in white water and you got out of your abilities and you've fallen out of your inner tube, whatever, try to head downstream, feet first, face up, obviously. You want to prevent a head injury. You don't want to get knocked unconscious. You also got to see where you're going. Don't panic. Try to steer. And here's the other thing. Don't get laser focused on, I must steer to the shoreline. Just, if you're like, the water's a little calmer over there, I can go climb up on that rock and wait for someone to rescue my ass. That is the better strategy. You're better off becoming stranded mid-river and waiting for rescue than exhausting yourself and ending up in tragedy. Avoid down trees in the water. These are called strainers. Plan your route around them. It's extremely difficult if you get caught in a strainer to get out of them, and there's really no advice that I could sit here and give you. The water pressure of the river will hold you up against those tree branches. Never dive in areas where you don't know what the depth is or what's underwater. This is a good way to get a permanent neck or spinal injuries. Protect others. If you have friends or family who are elderly or mobily challenged, check in on them this weekend. Even just a quick phone call. Yeah, I know, that goofy aunt, the one that's going to sit there and talk to you about either creepy Joe Biden on one side of the coin or is going to talk to you about how Trump had you don't want to call up the creepy aunt. How you doing, creepy Aunt Bethany? Don't say the creepy part. You okay? Got your windows closed? You need a bottle of water to come by? Did you see what was on the... Aunt Bethany, I'm real busy. I'm just making sure. You sure you don't want me to bring you by me an ice cream? Would you like an ice cream? Ice cream. Can I bring you ice cream, Aunt Bethany? Extreme danger is going to dramatically increase for fires, even in the urban areas. If you're thinking like, I'm going to celebrate America, because fireworks go on sale, I believe, on Monday. And I know I have fireworks left over from last year. Remember, fireworks are illegal and everywhere except for unincorporated areas in King County. And the fire marshal has asked people in unincorporated areas, yeah, please, just don't. If you're using a backyard fire pit, we kind of already covered that. Before you go to bed at night, make sure that fire is completely extinguished. There are no hot embers, nothing. The houseless community has fewer options for getting out of the heat. Donations of water bottle and non-caffeinated sport drinks are going to help the unhomed community, and this is something we want to talk about now. We are going to be at Heritage Park in Kirkland. That is 111 Waverly Avenue. Basically, it is downtown. We're going to be there from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We're only there for 1 hour because we have a busy news day on that day. And we are going to be collecting bottled water. My understanding, you ready to be happy, malcontents? Over 1,200 bottles are ready to be donated. We essentially have already filled the truck. So that's the next thing. And we're going to go ahead and post up this. We need another pickup truck or a big SUV because we filled the vehicle up. 200 gallons of water is basically going to wipe out the cargo capacity of a half-pound pickup truck from weight. So you're pushing about 1,600 pounds with 200 gallons of water. What I don't know, because I can't visualize in my head how much mass volume is taken up by 1,500 water bottles. And I don't even know if my truck's capable of holding 1,500 water bottles. But we're going to find out on Saturday. The other thing is your generosity. We have had over $200 in donations where people have earmarked on our Venmo specifically for water or sport drinks. The other thing is we have 100 towels so that the unhomed can use some of that water to soak towels and wrap them around their necks. So if you want to help, Saturday, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 111 Waverly Ave. That is a Heritage Park. We will park as close as we possibly can to the old high school arch. Just look for the white pickup truck and this confused looking person that looks like me going, where the hell am I going to put all this water? We're almost actually done, believe it or not. Recognizing heat stroke and heat related injuries, heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion is caused when a person's body can't cool down quickly enough. You need to know the symptoms. So here we go. The symptoms. Number one, muscle cramps, especially in the arms, legs, and abdomen. I actually experienced some heat exhaustion last week. If you were watching our coverage over at Jimi Hendrix Park, I at one point said, I need to take a break. I'm feeling a little nauseated. I'm starting to cramp up, and I need to go find some water. Weakness, dizziness, extreme thirst that cannot be quenched, headache, nausea, vomiting. If you get to the point of dizziness and vomiting, you are really on the brink of moving into heat stroke, and we'll get into that. If you see someone exhibiting these symptoms, you need to move them to a cool area, have them slowly sip water or sports beverage. If they do not start feeling better after 30 to 45 minutes, it is time to go to the emergency room or urgent care. Heat stroke is a serious medical emergency, and it can be fatal. Heat exhaustion usually precedes heat stroke, as we talked about. Know the symptoms. Body temperature over 103 degrees. Time to go to the emergency room. Red, hot, dry skin. The person can no longer sweat. Time to go to the emergency room. Rapid, strong pulse with fast breathing. Severe nausea. Confusion, altered mental state, loss of conscious, or has a seizure. Any of these are 911 emergency room emergencies. You see anybody exhibiting these symptoms, you need to contact emergency services and move them to a cooler area immediately. Another thing that you can do as an individual that is just you or me, if you have access to any ice packs in the armpits and groins. The other thing is cold water on the back of the neck. These are things you want to go ahead where these blood vessels are closest to the surface. You've got major arteries in the armpits, major arteries in your groin. You have your carotid arteries in your neck. If you can get cooling on there, you start to cool the blood down. That helps to cool the core. All right, we're going to do a brief pause for the cause with a patron thank, and then we're going to be ready to wrap this up. And I am equally concerned about the Pride event. I saw the comment there, and I am also equally concerned. By the way, we are going to be there Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3. We are going to have shade, and I'm planning to drink a lot of water. We'll be distributing some of the water in Seattle, and then we'll be distributing some of the other water as we head back to the east side in the afternoon. Next thing I want to say again here, go ahead and spam those hearts one last time. Spam those hearts on Twitter and on Facebook. Let people believe that there's good content here, and this guy doesn't know where the hell the mute button is. If you're watching us on Twitch, then what you need to do on there, you can use our emotes. If you're watching us on YouTube, sorry, no emotes. You can't spam hearts over there, but we love you anyway over there on YouTube. You can put love you mods, love you admins, miss you Jennifer, love you David, just in a, oh my God, I love it, Catherine. Wow. Y'all aren't going to be able to see what I'm seeing here because you just see the one at a time and I see the whole big thing here. All right. Beating the heat. How can you beat the heat? Head to the lowest floor of your home. Camp in your own backyard. Do a backyard camp out in the evening. If you got a backyard that you can go to and you got like the tent and all, that it's a popular thing that people do in the really hot days, especially if you got kids. The kids are like, oh, cool. This is going to be fun. Just know Sunday night, you're not going to get a whole lot of relief. Particularly Sunday night's just going to be awful. Don't run your dishwasher, your dryer, your stove, or oven. If you've got laundry to do, when you're done watching this in another 5 or 10 minutes, do it now. Like literally, do it now. Stay up for the hour, drop it in the dryer, and go to bed. Or otherwise, don't plan to do it until Tuesday. Unplug your unused appliances. They're even if they're like, but that TV's not on. It's generating a little bit of heat. And of course, go to a cooling center. We have additional information on cooling centers that came in right before showtime. King County libraries that are cooling centers. Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow. Number 1, master required. So, if you're going to be, you can't make me wear, you just go sweat somewhere else. The following libraries in King County will be open as cooling centers: Tukwila, Kent, Woodmont, Enumclaw, Woodinville, Federal Way on 320th, Boulevard Park, Lake Hills, Skyway, Lake Forest Park, Kirkland, Vashon, Mulkashute, Black Diamond, Algona Pacific, Fall City, and Carnation. And I have always wanted to do the school closure announcements, and I've grown up to do it. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., mask required. These will be open. We will have this on the website tomorrow. We will not have it up tonight. Tukwila, Kent, Woodmont, Enumclaw, Woodinville, Federal Way 320th, Boulevard Hills, Skyway, Lake Forest Park, Kirkland, Vashon, Mulkashute, Black Diamond, Algona Pacific, Skykomish, and Snoqualmie. There are additional cooling centers in King County. The Federal Way Community Center is being opened up as a cooling center. You will need to call ahead to find out exact days and times. In Maple Valley, Black Diamond Chamber of Commerce is opening up as a cooling center. You will need to go to their website to find out their exact times. Normandy Park, they are opening up the City Council chambers as a cooling center. Again, you will have to go to their website or call to find out the specific date and times. In Pacific, the Pacific Senior Center will be opened as a cooling center. And again, you're going to have to go visit their website. And then finally, SeaTac. The SeaTac Community Center will be open as a cooling center. And again, you'll have to go to their website to find out their hours. The King County Department of Community and Human Services will be opening the 4th and Jefferson Day Center as a cooling center also. That is located near Pioneer Square. I know space in that is typically limited to just 35 to 40 people typically. So that one will probably fill up quickly. Malcontents, that's what we've got. We've gone through 30 pages. I would have done it in about an hour and 10 if I hadn't screwed up the mute button once and we didn't have an equipment failure once. We can take any of your questions real quick here. Shelly Stockman, I live in a senior building. We're going to open the community room. A lot of places are doing that. So you can go hide out there. The biggest thing is if you can find somewhere to get air conditioning, go get air conditioning. Pam, if you can't do it after 10, then go ahead and nail it the first thing in the morning and get it checked off the list there. Tents, aerobags, bags outside and ready. There you go. See? I know people do this here. All right, Deborah's happy to hear the Woodinville. Hello, Woodinville. Glad that you're here. Yeah, dishwasher I've already run, and I've got dishes in the sink, candidly, and I think I'm just going to hand wash those puppies tomorrow. Last thing is, if you do have a home air conditioning system, whether that's a portable system, a window system, or a whole house HVAC, here's another thing you can do as soon as we get off the air. Go check the filter. On portable units, typically the filters are the kind that you can clean. If the filter's grungy, clean it. If you have a home unit and it's grungy, replace it. Hopefully you can find a filter tomorrow. I actually checked our filter today. It was gross. And I'm really glad I checked it. The reason for this is if those filters get clogged, it reduces the airflow and that reduces the efficiency. Here is another thing if you have a whole house HVAC system. This is a phenomenon that typically doesn't happen here. You're going to have to suck it up, buttercups, and probably keep that AC around 71 or 72. That's probably as low as you want to go. Those AC compressor will probably run Saturday morning all the way through to Tuesday. And it probably will not stop once. When they run that long, your system can ice up. If your system ices up, it no longer can cool. And the only way that you can solve this is to turn it off and wait for all the ice to melt. And then the temperature skyrockets higher and the AC system is not going to be able to keep up. Here's another thing from personal experience in Texas, particularly Monday, where you have a home AC system. When I lived in Houston, we had a heat wave. As I said, the hottest I ever was in was 108. We had a heat wave with numbers pretty similar to what we are seeing here. Difference is higher humidity. At the heat of the day, when it was 105 and 107, our house with the air conditioner running full blast, the best it got was about 78 degrees. Air conditioning does not have this limitless ability to cool your home. So if you're just in a spot where it's 4 in the afternoon and the temperature's creeping up and it's just running, your house is 75, 76, 77, it's probably as good as it's going to get until, again, that sun goes down. Last thing, if you have a multi-story house, even if you got air conditioning, if you have a fan or two, start running those fans to push the air around, particularly if you have hot spots and cool spots. We have that in our house. Fans are going out tomorrow morning, and they won't be turned off probably not till the 4th of July. That's the other thing, is there's not a big cool down that is coming with this. 88's a hell of a lot better than 108 any day of the week. But we're not going to see a big, huge cool down as far out as I can see into the 4th of July. We will be streaming live from Heritage Park. I wanted to say Waverly Beach and confuse everybody. Heritage Park on 111 Waverly Ave. And we'll be streaming live there from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We will then be streaming from Gay Pride at Cal Anderson. We are not, we have posted, we have put on social that we have distanced ourselves and disassociated ourselves with the Capitol Hill Pride event. We are working with AMP and with our partners at Seattle Gay News and Unite. And we will be at the AMP event on Sunday. If you want to come down and visit me, you can come down and visit. We will probably try to go over to the pop-up clinic for COVID, and we'll do a little shout out. Try to convince, because like the COVID number of people vaccinating is just gone. It's a Sicily. It's flatlined. And so we're going to try to convince people, go ahead and get that, especially if it's the first jab. Because the first jab, you don't feel anything. Let's go ahead and get that first jab. Second jab, I don't know, feeling like crap on 100-degree days just sounds extra crappy. Sunday, we're probably going to storm chase on Sunday. We're going to be looking for like the 110s or 115s. So I don't know if that pushes us. I don't know if that's going to push us east or if that's going to push us south. But Sunday we'll be doing storm chasing. and seeing just how hot we can find it. And then Monday will be weather coverage again. And then we're going to go back to our regular format. And the other thing is, and then I'm going to close on this because there seems like some confusion that happened. We're 2 shows a week through the summertime. So we're Monday, Thursday through the summer because quite frankly, we know everyone's a little checked out because it's nice outside and it's hard doing 3 shows a week. We think we're kind of diluting things down a little bit. So we're going to do 2 shows a week through September. Jennifer is back next week. And at the end of September, we will go back to our 3-show-a-week format if I haven't had to go back to corporate America. I don't want to go back to corporate America. Become a patron. Keep me from going back to corporate America. You can be $2. $2 a month, you can become a patron. And you get your name, well, not for $2, you can get your name on there. You get your $10, I want your name and lights, but. All right. That's it, everybody. Be good, stay safe. I want to be able to see virtually all of your smiling faces via comments. I love you guys. There you go. That's for you. Malcontent out. Malcontent News is a team of journalists, activists, and researchers with 3 key missions. A commitment to show an unfiltered view of the before, during, and after of key events live as it happens. To defend the First Amendment using our rights of a free press. And to amplify the voices of underrepresented individuals including Black, Indigenous, persons of color, and the LGBTQIA+ community. Our team is committed to seeking equality for all and holding those in power accountable. The easiest way to support Malcontent News is to bookmark our website at malcontentnews.com, like and follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, and in the Google News app. To provide financial support, you can become a patron, make a one-time donation through Venmo, or link your Twitch account to your Amazon Prime account and use your free subscription to subscribe to Malcontent News. Thank you for supporting independent journalism and for being a malcontent.
You fit the profile. You're the malcontent.
Nobody wants to hear the nonsensical ravings of a loudmouth malcontent.
He said malcontent Antifa. Fuck you.
You are the biggest hypocrite on the face of the planet.
I say that you're a terrible